Nice. This is yours truly, Pastor Kevin L.A. Ewing, coming to you live from my beautiful, beautiful island of Freeport, Grand Bahama, Bahamas. And I just thought it fitting to just stop by today and just share some words of encouragement with you. Actually, this is my day off. When I say off, I put aside all counseling and all that other stuff, and just to give me some relaxed time. So earlier, I was out on the beach and doing what I love to do when I do my wind down, and that is flying my drone. But I don't know if you guys can hear it. So the rain, I changed my scenery, location, and the rain is pouring, right? So I say, you know what, while I'm here waiting for this rain to calm down so I can continue with flying my drone, let me just share some stuff on my Facebook page of some of the shots that I took out there on the beach and how we do life. Well, actually me here in the Bahamas, and I would have left some encouragement due to poor connection. Okay, yeah. So while I was out there, this is why I do take those breaks, because I begin to reflect as to where I am now and where I used to be. And I don't know what this message is for, but I am just led to share part of my story with you with the hope that it would encourage you. I told you on many occasions about my story, how I was in a very, very dark, very, very difficult place in my life. As a single father, a person who made the decision to be committed to my son despite what I was going through, to the extent he was living with me from the time he was 3-4 years old until it was time for him to go to college. Dealing with that, dealing with everyday life, finances, and just trying to make ends meet. There are many times, you would pray and ask God to do certain things for you in terms of increased finances, make the whole condition in life better. One of the things that encouraged me, even when I wasn't seeing my prayers manifested at that time, and I don't know why I would have thought this way, and it only could have been God. I always said to myself, nothing lasts forever. No matter how good it may be, no matter how conditions may be horrible, the way that life is designed, the way that God has designed this earthly realm that we live in, absolutely nothing goes on forever. Everything has an assigned time to exist. That was something that never left me. So even though I saw my peers going ahead of me, accomplishing in life, getting their home, going on with their education, getting married and moving on, to me that seemed like light years away. Now remember, even though I was thinking those thoughts, I still had in my mind, boy, Kev, this ain't gonna go on forever, because many of these people were once where you were, or probably even worse. And here it is now, they're moving on. So it was this battle in my mind that even though I'm confident with the thought that this isn't gonna be forever, for whatever reason, I was still having this internal competition with myself, comparing myself with others. But at the same time, still saying to myself, hey, that's their time, this their season, this, whatever. So here is what I came across. This is what my conclusion is. Conclusion is, in hindsight, everybody battles internally. Despite the gospel you're hearing, despite the encouraging words, there is something in you that you refuse to let go and face reality with. And I saw the rule for that in the scriptures, which really made it clearer to me. And I came across the scripture many years ago in Proverbs 23, and I think verse 7. And it says, so a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So a man thinks in his heart, so is he, or so shall he become. In other words, even though I was saying, boy, Kev, this ain't gonna be forever. One day you're gonna be living on the other side of that. But in my heart was still negative thoughts, still worry, still feeling a little bit jealous of seeing other people getting ahead and you still at the same spot, even though educational wise and whatever else, you have more than them. So the problem for me wasn't the fact that it won't get better one day. The problem for me was that understanding that I had did not line up with the contents of my heart. And many of you are there today. You're waiting on your turn. You're praying and you're believing God. But you're still comparing. You're still in this imaginary race with other people. These people don't have you to study. But here you are. You want to be like them. you're jealous of them, you wish you were ahead like that time. Your time will come. Sit back and learn from what you're going through now, because it's preparing you for where you will be. The evidence of that right now is where I'm at in life right now. Prior to where I'm at right now, I prayed for these days. I remember in my days at FedEx, and before I would go to work in the morning, I would pull up, because I lived not too far from the beach at the time, Deidre and I would pull up by the beach, right? I remember, I live here in the Bahamas where it's predominantly black. So I would pull up on the beach, park my vehicle, and I would watch, the white folks come out there in the morning, like around 9:30, 10 o'clock. And they would come out there with the little dogs and poodles or what have you, and enjoying my land, enjoying my country. And here I am, a native of this country, struggling and just going through the works. And I say, boy, Lord, one day I will be like that. One day I want to put all of this behind, and I don't want to be slave to no one. I don't want to be working for nobody else. I want to come to that point in life where I truly get to enjoy the fruit of my labor, truly get to enjoy the life that I read about in the Bible. Again, folks, while I'm saying that, remember now, your heart have to be lined up with these things that you desire. Because many of you want the same thing. You don't want to be tied down. You don't want to be in this financial lack anymore. You don't want to be struggling or having to beg or borrow other people. You want to be that. But at the same time, your heart is corroded with negativity. You're still keeping company with negative people. You're not dismissing negative thoughts. You're chronically complaining on a consistent basis. But then you would say, boy, one day I want to have that good life. Well, my friend, I am here to tell you this. I am here to tell you that there are two parts to a good life. The initial part is here. If you haven't sorted out the good life from your heart, which is your mind, then I promise you, even when the good life is presented to you, you're still going to complain. You're still going to murmur. You're still going to find negative things to say. You're still going to see everything except the positive. So this is why you're going through the difficulty, the financial challenges, family coming against you, baby mama, baby daddy, ex-husband, ex-wife. See, you're not learning, and this is why you're repeating the lesson. The idea is to break that mindset, to destroy it. So now when you are launched into where you have prayed to be, or where God has ordained for you to be, you could bask in it. You could enjoy it. This is what I wanted. Nothing bothers you anymore. Now you look in hindsight and you say to yourself, those things were supposed to happen to prepare me for this woman, for this man, for this new life, for this new opportunity. Had I come into this with that old mindset, I would have been a miserable person, still complaining, even though I have the good life, even though I'm debt free, even though I have a good wife or a good husband. You can't appreciate those things if you have not dissolved the mindset of the past. So my advice to you is you have to let go. Let go of that divorce you didn't want, but it happened. You had no control of it. Let go that your kids betrayed you and turned on you, and they went on the side of their their mother or their father. Let that go. That is a part of life. These are things that you cannot control. Your focus going forward is on the things that what I can control, what is in my reach, that I have authority over, that I could pull the strings to. That is where your focus should be. So in essence, what I'm saying to you, you have to learn to control the controllables and manage the rest. What is the rest, Mr. Ewing? The rest are the things that I cannot control. You have to see the bigger picture, and the bigger picture, it's not going to always be that way. So now that you've already put a stake in the ground with that, deal with your heart. That is key. Many people walking around you today, many people have attained the highest level of success, very wealthy and in a great position than where they used to be, but they cannot enjoy it. They are angry, they are broken. This is why they're back and forth with people, always arguing, and even in their regular talk, it's just filled with rage and bitterness and anger and revenge. Why? Because they're broken. They have never dealt with the issues of their heart. So everyone they communicate with or interact with, they're combative, they're confrontational. And it's a clear sign of a broken person, despite their wealth, despite their whatever position they are in life, in a positive way. And so I'm here to tell you today that if it is your desire, like I once was, to live the life that you are praying for, you have to deal with the internal you before that life is manifested. Now let me be very clear. Whether or not you deal with the internal you, that does not stop that life from coming. The problem is, when that life comes, you still have the old mindset. You never prepared for it. Hence, you could never ever enjoy what you have prayed for. I can sit here today in this vehicle, and it's now 2:13 p.m. here in the Bahamas on this Monday, and I am literally living the days that I prayed for, living the days that I don't have to be a servant to anyone, someone giving me orders and telling me what to do, when I can enjoy my beautiful island, just like the foreigners that come here and those who decide to live here and do what they want to do. I can do that now. But you know what is even more important? I can do it with a grateful heart. I can do it with a heart that I enjoy every precious moment of my life. Every second, every millisecond of my life. I love it. I look forward to the next day. I look forward to the sunrise. I look forward to walking my beaches or just coming out here to the canal where I'm at now and just breathing in life. Not complaining, not thinking about what people did to me in the past, not holding on to grudges, not being bitter, not able to let go of the past. That's not me. Whatever was done to me, betrayal, disappointment, whatever happened in the past, those things were supposed to happen to prepare me for where I'm at right now. Hence, it has given me an enormous appreciation. Therefore, I cannot hate those who caused it to happen if I believe that it happened for a reason, and I see what the reason is now. So I would be a fool to sit back and look at what God has done for me, but at the same time cannot enjoy it. Why? Because I'm still holding in it for Sally. I still won't get torn back for what he did to me on the job. And Mary, what she said to the pastor about me in the church, you wait till her day come, the devil is a liar. I will never live that way. I will never live walking around with grudges, walking around with hate and bitterness towards other people when life is ticking away. I don't know how much longer I have to enjoy this. My time to depart, to meet my Jesus could be next week. It could be a couple hours from now. And God forbid, if I'm living these final hours, all right, still never got it together in my heart, and about to transition, filled with bitterness, filled with hate, filled with anger, filled with revenge, still broken, still rejected, the devil is a liar. When I tell you the devil is a liar, I'm not just saying that. This dude is a stink liar. That will never happen to me. Anyone that knows me, I have a grand appreciation for life. My birthday is coming up Saturday, September 13th. I would be 55 years old. When I look back at my life, many years ago, when I went through eternal hell, when it seems as if there was absolutely no hope, no turnaround, there was no form of help. What I live now, there was no type of evidence that one day, Kevin, you will live on the other side of that. And here I am now. Here I am now, and everybody's out there on a job, working for the next paycheck, trying to figure out how ends are going to meet. And I used to be that person. Couldn't sleep at night because the bills were insurmountable. Wondering when the bank is going to come and take the complex that I worked so hard for. End up losing it. Lose property. Every investment that I had, it was gone. I had to move back to live with my mother at the age of 40 years old. Divorced, broke like the 10 Commandments. Remember now, this man is a Christian. Been a Christian for a while at that point. And it seems as if everything was just going wrong. Why hold on to this Jesus? Why hold on to this God? Well, as you can see, patience. Nothing lasts forever. You shouldn't say to yourself, why are these things happening to me? when you get to where you're supposed to be and you have really dealt with your heart, you know what you're going to say? Not why are these things happening to me, Sorry, why are these things happening to me? Why were they happening for me? When I look at those problems, those things, they became the chisel that God used to chip away those things that he needed to get off of me before he slingshot me into my destiny. See, it's at the end of the day. Remember what that scripture says. Proverbs 23 verse 7. So a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, or so shall he become. So I'm saying to you, you want a good life. You want to enjoy your marriage. You want to enjoy your children. It ain't gonna be a bed of roses every day. Okay? There are days you're gonna buck head. There are days where you're gonna have disagreements. There are days when the lid is just gonna fly off the top. Okay, that's a part of life. However, there are parts of that you can control. As for one, you don't have to submit to going back and forward. You could be the bigger person and back away. You could be the bigger person that despite the obscenity being hurled at you, despite the degrading words being hurled at you, you still could manage this. I still could show love. I still could humble myself and sit back and be quiet. I still could be the one that even though I didn't do wrong, I could still extend my hand of, hey, listen, I don't want us to live this way. Let's fix this. And even if they reject me, I shouldn't peel back and hold it in for them and wait for the day to get them. No, my friend. That's not life. There are many broken people out there. Many broken people who are in a far better position than what you are in today. But they cannot enjoy it. They cannot enjoy it simply because they refuse to let go. Simply because they refuse to just give it up. They are determined to get back. They have to have the last say. They have to seek revenge. They have to be spiteful. They must be vindictive. They have to see you suffer. So it makes them a very sad, broken person. Remember, Proverbs 23 verse 7. So a man thinketh in his heart, that which is consistently going on in his mind. So that's who they are as a person. Forget everything on the outside. That's who they are. Forget the Mercedes. Forget the big homes. Forget the image. Deep down, they're a lonely, broken, self-rejected human. And that is the worst place to be ever in life when God has launched you into your heart's desire. You saw every lesson along the way as an attack against you. You saw every lesson, because that's what they were. The bucking of heads, the difficulties and so on, they were lessons. That's what they were. They were to make you a better person. The whole idea was to change your way of thinking. But you saw everything as a personal attack against you. Like the whole world got it in for you. All because you're broken. You need to come to the realization. Accept it. Give up and say, listen, I accept I am broken and I need help. I really need to change my way of thinking. Why am I so negative? Why am I always complaining? Why do I always find people, why do I have to be, I'm a codependent person. I have to be around people. They don't know this, but to ease my loneliness and my brokenness. No, my friend. Hear me and hear me today, yeah? You ain't listening to this live by mistake. Check your heart. God will elevate you, promote you, and slingshot you to where you should be in life. But I can tell you right now, that will mean nothing to you if you haven't changed the negative, repetitive, hateful, unforgiving contents of your heart. You have to forgive. You have to let go. I have had people whom I trust, whom I love dearly, whom I've put on a pedestal, betrayed me. The pain was so severe. It was like someone stick a knife in my throat and pulled it all the way down to my groin. But I had to forgive. In order for me to enjoy my life, I had to release them. I had to let it go. I had to. If it was my desire that no matter what state I am in life, I must enjoy it. And I must always say this to myself, Kevin, this ain't gonna be this way forever. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to get worse after this. In fact, it could even mean it will get better after this, even if I am in a good position right now. But again, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Life is primarily with two main options: the controllables, the things that I have power to control, and the uncontrollables. My job is to control the controllables and to manage the rest, or manage those things that I have no control over. Let me talk to the single mother or the single father or the divorced mother or the divorced father right now. And your kids were taken away from you. You feel like you've lost it all. All right. Not only that, the wife or the husband has turned the kids against you. You've shown them love. You've done everything you could do to show them that, hey, I want to have a relationship with you, but they rejected you. And you feel defeated. You feel like, but my friend, hear me. You have no control over that. If the courts have given the other party full rights to the child, and these are the conditions that you, even if you get to visit, then manage that. Listen to me carefully. That's not going to be forever. What you need to do now is cultivate your peace. Now that I know I have no control over that, how do I cultivate my peace while managing never hating them, never hating the daddy, or never hating their mommy for what they did? That is how you're going to enjoy your life. Me as a counselor, I have sat with hundreds, perhaps even thousands of people filled with bitterness, filled with anger. The mere thought of the other party name, I watched the entire countenance of their face change to, unimaginable hate and disdain towards the other person, even though they're in a better position now. Why? Because they refuse to let go. They refuse to see themselves as a part of the problem. They refuse. So there's very little you could do for a person like that. You would just be talking in circles, because every time you try to show them a way out, they will say, like they normally do with me, Kevin, I hear you, and Kevin, I appreciate you, and Kevin, I know you're a man of God, and Kevin, I believe God is speaking through you to me, but Kevin, is hard. Kevin, you don't know what I've been through. I don't care what you've been through. I told you what I went through, but I had to make a decision. The decision is, are you going to spend the rest of your limited life being angry at something you have zero control over? Or are you going to make the decision right now and say, you know what? I can't do this no more. I'm watching life pass me by, and I could never enjoy it. I could never participate in it, simply because I refuse to let the things of the past that has devastated me go. I know some of you may say, well, Kevin, I was molested by my father, or my mother prostituted me. And I know what you're saying to me. You're saying, Kevin, now see there, it doesn't get worse than that. Again, you're not hearing me, you know. You got two options in life. You control the controllables. You manage the rest. You were molested in the past. How much of that can you control now? None of it. So what are you going to do now? You're going to let that govern your life? So let's say you were molested at 15 years old. You never forgave, you never let it go, you never live your life. You're now 68. Look at who you are. So a man thinking in his heart, so is he. You're bitter, you're angry. Look at the way you speak to people. Look at the way you've pushed your children away from you because of your attitude. Look how your co-workers despise you. Look how you were never promoted on the job. Why? Because you've allowed something you had no control over to dictate everything else in your life. You've allowed it to rob you and literally rape you emotionally, rape you in every area of your life. But you're so filled with hate and unforgiveness that you can't see it. Everyone tried to tell you, calm down, take it easy. You don't have to speak to people that way. But you feel combative. You feel like everyone is against you. So a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. In fact, you are your own problem. Again, you were disappointed by your husband. He cheated. He went out there and he had another kid. Your wife had a kid for somebody else while she was in the marriage you just found out. Again, I'm not being insensitive to your pain, to your hate. I get it. What I am saying to you, what about that can you? The child is already here. What about that you can control? She cheated already. She had intercourse with another person. You can't control that. That already happened. What do you do from here? Because let me be clear to you. If you don't clear your heart, Not even the person. If you don't clear your heart, even if you leave her, even if you leave him because of the pain and the betrayal, you are still mentally and internally damaged. Hence, when you go into the next relationship, you are going to beat that person who had nothing to do with that past incident with the stick that you were beaten with. All because you're broken. All because you don't want to accept the fact that you are damaged and you need help. That's what you need. Internally, you need help. You're going to marinate on this day after day. Anything remotely resemble what you've been through. Watch the spewing of the negativity. Watch the evil things you have to say. God forbid that ex-husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend names come up. Look at the vile that comes from your mouth. But where did it really come from? Your unforgiving, broken heart that you have literally covered up and refused to fix. Again, I don't know who this is for, but you had to hear this today. Let it go. The next stage to this evil that you refuse to deal with emotionally, it now manifests into physical sickness. That bitterness brought that cancer and sickness and all of these other stuff that's going on with you. Again, why? All because you listen, I will never be that way. I don't care, and I've had hurt, I've had pain, and that's why I can relate to it so greatly. But let me tell you something, yeah? I refuse to let it go. I refuse to sit back and allow what someone did to me in the past to pull the strings to my future. It will never happen. Not in this life or the life to come. I refuse. Time is too limited. There's too much things going on and there's too much things to enjoy. So there's no way in the world that I'm going to sit back in life and just pine and moan and complain. And every time I see these people who did me wrong, I turn into a complete mule, a complete fool. Okay? I can't perform no more when they're around. And whenever I see them, I got to take on attitude and jerk up myself and act like a fool. Why? When these people are living their lives. No way, buddy. I am going to enjoy my life. Yeah, you did that in the past. I ain't got no control over it. I forgive you. I pray the best for you. I realize that now that has happened to me, guess what? I can now relate to others who come to me who had a similar experience. So I don't see it as something negative. I see it as a tool that was being afforded me. I didn't like the lesson that I got it in. Nevertheless, that was the uncontrollable. So I managed that to the point that I'm able to use it as something positive going forward. That is how life should be if it is your desire to enjoy the life that you are praying to God for right now. Let me say this one more time and I'm done. There are many, 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 many broken people under the guise of a good life. They are broken. I'm telling you, I meet them all the time. Millionaires, people who are doing well business-wise. And when I sit and listen to the brokenness, I've seen people who are successful in every aspect of the word break down in tears. Why, Ewing? Because the strings of their past is still pulling them. They're literally puppets to the puppet masters of their past. They wouldn't let go. They refuse to let go to the point that they don't even know how to do it anymore. And no matter how you say to them, how you pray with them, no matter how you encourage them, they don't realize they're making a decision. Listen what they're saying, Kevin, I can't let it go. No, you don't want to let it go. That's what it is. And again, I'm not insensitive. Let's be clear. But remember, despite whatever, you are making a decision. Can you imagine if you were to meet somebody who said to them, all their brothers raped them, and they end up getting pregnant for one of their brothers, and their mother knew and approved of it, and anytime you were to tell the mother what they were doing, the mother would slap you down and talk whatever to you. Imagine that, right? And that person eventually forgave her siblings, forgave her mother. But look at you. You said to you, your stepmother mistreated you and treated you like a dog. 50 years later, you're still holding on to that. But the person who went through something 10 times worse than you has moved on with life. So you see what I'm saying to you? You are making the decision to be in that position. You have made the decision You could come back all you want and clap back all you want and say, well, see, you could sit up because you don't know what I went through. Well, she could say it also, and she know what she went through because she went through something worse. And she made the decision to come up. So remember, and I'm done here. Proverbs 23 verse 7. So a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. The day God slingshot you into your destiny, that's a beautiful thing. But have you been prepared? Have you learned your lessons along the way? You done that? And secondly, in this life, there's always two choices. You control the controllables, those things you have control over. And the rest, which will be the uncontrollable, which you have no say in, at best, you can only manage them. God bless you, and you have a wonderful Monday afternoon.